Good morning. Please tell me your full name.
Good morning. My name is John Adler.
Where are you from?
I'm from England.
Let's talk about the weather. What is the weather like in your country?
The weather is cold and hot sometimes.
But this answer is very short and band is 5. That's why try to give full answer. Try again as in real IELTS testing.
The weather in my country is quite extreme and varies significantly depending on the season. We experience very cold winters with heavy snow, especially in the northern regions, and hot, dry summers, particularly in the south.
Do you prefer hot or cold weather?
Personally, I prefer mild weather such as spring or early autumn. Extremely cold winters can be physically exhausting, while very hot summers make it difficult to stay productive during the day.
Does the weather affect your daily routine?
Yes, definitely. In winter, people tend to stay indoors more often and daily activities slow down. On the other hand, good weather motivates people to spend more time outside and be more active.
Now I'm going to give you a topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak. Describe the weather in your country. You should say what the weather is usually like, how it changes during the year, how it affects people, and explain how you feel about it. 1 minute for preparation.
In my country, the weather is highly seasonal and sometimes unpredictable. Winter is usually long and harsh, with temperatures dropping well below zero, especially in January and February. Snowstorms and icy roads are quite common during this time. Spring is relatively short but refreshing. The weather becomes warmer, nature comes back to life, and people generally feel more energetic. Summers can be extremely hot, particularly in the southern regions where temperatures can rise above 35 degrees Celsius. Autumn, however, is considered the most pleasant season because the weather is cooler and more stable. The weather strongly affects people's lifestyle. For example, in winter, people dress very warmly and plan their activities carefully. In summer, many people try to travel, relax, or spend time outdoors in the evenings. Although the climate can be challenging, I personally think it has taught people to be adaptable and resilient. Overall, I've learned to appreciate each season for what it offers.
Let's discuss weather in more general terms. How does weather influence people's mood?
Weather has a significant impact on people's mood. For instance, long periods of cold and darkness can cause tiredness or even stress, while sunny weather often improves people's energy levels and overall emotional well-being.
Do you think climate change is affecting the weather in your country?
Yes, I believe climate change is having a noticeable effect. In recent years, summers have become hotter and drier, while winters are sometimes less predictable. These changes affect agriculture, water supply, and even people's health.
Should governments take responsibility for weather-related problems?
Absolutely. Governments should invest in infrastructure such as better heating systems, flood prevention, and public awareness programs. While individuals also have responsibility, large-scale solutions require government involvement.
Do you think people will adapt easily to changing weather conditions in the future?
I think adaptation will be challenging but possible. Humans are naturally adaptable, but it will require education, technological innovation, and long-term planning to cope with extreme weather conditions.
Let's learn useful phrases according to this topic. General weather. The weather in my country varies greatly throughout the year. We experience a wide range of weather conditions. The climate is quite extreme compared to many other countries. Weather patterns differ significantly depending on the region.
Winter weather. Winters are long and harsh. Temperatures often drop well below zero. Heavy snowfall is common during this season. Cold weather can be physically demanding.
Summer weather. Summers tend to be hot and dry. Temperatures can rise above 35 degrees Celsius. People usually avoid going outside during the hottest part of the day. The heat can be exhausting.
Spring and autumn. Spring is short but refreshing. Nature comes back to life in spring. Autumn is considered the most comfortable season. The weather becomes cooler and more stable.
Weather and people's lifestyle. The weather strongly affects people's daily routines. People tend to stay indoors during extreme weather. Good weather encourages outdoor activities. Weather conditions influence people's mood and productivity.
Climate change and modern issues. Climate change is having a noticeable impact. Weather has become more unpredictable in recent years. Extreme weather events are occurring more frequently. These changes affect agriculture and water resources.
Expressing opinion, Band 7 plus. In my opinion, the climate shapes people's character. Personally, I find this type of weather challenging but manageable. Although the climate can be tough, it has its advantages. I've learned to adapt to different weather conditions.
Linking phrases, fluency boost. For example, as a result, on one hand, on the other hand. Overall, that's why I believe.
Exam tip, important. Instead of saying, the weather is cold and hot, say, the weather in my country is quite extreme, with freezing winters and very hot summers. Key. One strong sentence is better than 3 weak ones. We've talked a lot about weather in your country. Do you think people in countries with extreme weather develop different personalities?
Yes, I believe extreme weather does influence people's character. In countries with harsh winters, people often become more patient, disciplined, and resilient because daily life requires planning and endurance. When weather conditions are challenging, people learn to adapt rather than complain.
Do you think weather affects the way people communicate or socialize?
Definitely. During long winters, people tend to socialize indoors more, often in smaller groups, which can create deeper personal connections. In contrast, during warm and pleasant weather, people are more open, relaxed, and willing to interact outdoors, which creates a more social atmosphere overall.
Some people say weather is just an excuse for mood changes. Do you agree?
I partially agree. While weather shouldn't be an excuse for negative behavior, it undeniably affects our physical energy and emotional state. For example, a lack of sunlight can reduce motivation, whereas sunny weather often boosts productivity and optimism. So I think weather influences mood, but how people respond to it is a personal responsibility.
If you had the power to change the climate in your country, would you do it?
That's an interesting question. Honestly, I wouldn't want to completely change it. While extreme weather can be difficult, it's also part of our identity and culture. Each season has its challenges, but it also teaches people flexibility and appreciation. I think learning to adopt is more valuable than trying to control nature.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you very much.
Chair moves, door opens. The test is over. What made this a Band 7 Plus performance? The candidate didn't just describe the weather. He explained its impact on people and society. He expressed balanced opinions. He spoke calmly, clearly, and naturally. This is how a simple topic becomes a high-scoring answer.
Weather is not about temperature. It's about life, habits, mood, and adaptation. If you connect the topic to real human experience, your English sounds real too. And that's what IELTS rewards.